Are you lost in the chaotic whirlwind of day-to-day busyness? Do you yearn for a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in your life? Welcome to Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose, the podcast dedicated to empowering women on their journey of self-discovery and finding their true purpose through their own story. I'm your host, Brenda Simmons. Welcome to the Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose podcast. Today I have with me Sara Cobb. She is a physical trainer and a health coach. And we're so excited to have you on today, Sara. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you got into what you're doing now and kind of your purpose for doing that?
So kind of my backstory?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, I did not grow up healthy in the slightest. Like my dad was a marathoner, and so I did some races and stuff, but I grew up in a household where fad diets were a thing. And I heard I'm fat, I can't eat that, that'll make me gain weight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it gave me a really bad self-image. And I was always doing like the random yo-yo diets and all that crap. So finally, when I was in my early 20s, I got out of a really bad relationship and I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to start doing something on my own and I'm going to, change my health. I started trying to do it on my own and it wasn't working. Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what was important, what was unimportant. So I hired my own trainer and he kicked my butt. Like I lost a good amount of weight. I gained some muscle mass. I was feeling really good about myself. Then I met my husband. And I fell in love with exercise. So I went and got my degree in health and exercise science and I started personal training. And after doing that for a few years, I'm like, exercise is great, but I want nutrition. Like I want to know how to do nutrition. And I was gluten-free at the time. I had a really bad gluten allergy. So I went ahead and I'm now certified in precision nutrition's first and second levels of their nutrition. And that has helped me vastly help people so much. I've done all the diets. I would do, the macros and the calories and stuff, and that works. But it got to a point where, especially when I had my child, that it just takes too much time. So now I just do it holistically and never counting calories, never counting my macros, none of that. And that's kind of brought me to where I love my health. It's super easy for me to maintain it instead of being horrified on what am I going to do after this diet ends. So I've fallen in love with it and I just love helping others.
I love that. Okay. I just feel like there's so much to unpack there. So we're going to take it a little step at a time. So number one, why don't diets work? And I preface this because I don't like the word diet because to me it's all a lifestyle. Like it's just what lifestyle are you choosing right now? So explain to everybody, why do diets not work?
So I don't like the word diet either. I generally use diet as just daily nutrition. It's what we eat. It's our lifestyle. But quote unquote diets are horrible for the fact that they're very restrictive. They can be very restrictive, either with calories or with macros, with random foods that you can or cannot eat. And the worst part about it is they have an end date. You're on a diet for this many amount of weeks, months, whatever, and then it ends and you have nowhere to go afterwards.
Right.
So I don't like diets because of all of those reasons. Like they're not fun. And they're daunting and they expire and you don't know what to do.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole energy around the word diet, I feel like is negative, and when people say I'm on a diet, I just kind of feel like, well, why? Because I just feel like, yeah. So I'm agreeing with you that they don't work, that it's better just to adopt the lifestyle. So, okay. So what are how do I want to ask this? Like, what's the relationship between what you eat and exercise? Obviously, we've been told that they are related, but in your perspective, I'd really like to get your take on how they interact. And I ask this because I've done a diet, right? And I did lose a lot of weight, and I only did it with food. There was no exercise. And so I truly believe that you can lose weight just with food. yet I didn't feel healthy. So I'm wondering, can you take a deeper dive into that?
Yes. So you absolutely can lose weight just by making your diet better. The problem with just doing that and not adding in exercise is you're potentially also losing muscle mass, which
Hmm.
is why you didn't feel good. Because if we're not consistently working on our bodies in an exercise form, like lifting weights or working on our cardio, things like a mixture of everything, then we're losing potentially body fat, but we're also losing the muscle mass. So if we can incorporate strength training to help build up the muscle, we're essentially increasing our metabolism even more. So you can, in fact, eat more
Hmm.
eventually after you lose whatever kind of weight you want, because we're building up them or breaking down the muscle in the exercise. The food will replenish and help build up the muscle, and muscle requires a lot of energy, whereas body fat doesn't require any energy. So you're going to be burning more calories at rest. So you're actually going to get better results and feel better, feel stronger, have more energy if you incorporate the exercise along with the nutrition. Now, if you just exercise and don't incorporate the nutrition, you might lose some, but essentially you can't out exercise a bad diet. If you're not eating
Right,
well, you're not going to see the results that you want to see if you're going to see results at all.
right. So what is a good eating program? So you've talked about how you have counted macros and you don't do that now. How do you do it now?
I do it very holistically. I coach my clients on how to actually listen to their bodies, like hunger cues, satiety cues, and I essentially have them go through quote unquote school with me.
Yeah.
Basically, what we do is I teach them how to build their plate, like what the nutritious foods are, how we're feeling with what we're eating, where our essential nutrients are, our protein, our veggies, our carbs, our fats, like
Mhm.
where are we getting them? How are we feeling after our meals? How are we feeling during the day? How's our sleep and stress levels? How is our recovery? I mean, it's a lot of deep health. So it's
Mhm.
a lot more intricate than doing something like macros and calories. This is something that you ultimately want to live a healthy lifestyle and be able to teach your kids how to do it as well, how to build their plate for success for them and for health for them along with yourself. So it can be daunting for people, but I break it down in a way to make it not so bad.
I really love that. Really listening to your body. And that's something that I've really been into more on mental and an emotional. And so I got to a point where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm pretty good mentally and emotionally, but physically I'm not, right? And so that's why I did this diet, right? Um, Learned a whole lot of what not to do, right? But I've not ever really tried just
Mhm.
listening, okay, what do I need right now? Um, Sometimes I'll go, oh, I want a salad for breakfast, and so that's what I do. So I guess I try it, but it's not something that I do on the regular. So I think that's super fascinating. How do you help people listen to what their body needs?
So we go off of how they feel.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, so for example, have you ever eaten a meal and felt tired afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. So then we would take that and they would tell me what they ate, and I would adjust the portions of what they ate depending on a lot of times if you eat just too much and you get overfull, you're going to be
Mhm.
tired because your body's working overtime trying to digest your food. So all of your energy is
Right.
going to your digestive system.
Hmm.
Or if, let's say, you eat too many carbohydrates, carbohydrates are going to give you a big spike in your blood sugar real quick and then going to drop. Therefore, you're going to have a lot of energy and then all of a sudden drop and you're not going to have energy. So if you have a good amount and then shortly thereafter you're feeling hungry and lack of energy, then there's a problem with your portion sizes, let's say on your carbs. So
Right.
it really just depends on them understanding like their feelings afterwards and knowing what they've eaten and how basically how they're feeling.
That's awesome. I've also looked into like sugar burning and fat burning and how your body will adjust to either type. Can you explain what those are, and do you incorporate that in what you teach?
I don't necessarily incorporate that, just for the fact that I just try to help my clients eat, more whole foods and building their plate to help them. And as long as they're seeing results, there's no real reason to get
Really?
that far,
Okay.
especially in my beginner program, because that's getting way too much into technicalities. And I'm trying
Right.
to build an easy foundation to stick to.
Awesome. I really like that. So the way I understand it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, sugar burning is where your body is used to just burning off what you put to it immediately, whereas fat burning is it's your body gets used to burning off the energy stored as fat rather than the food that you eat. But it
Yeah.
requires a lot of intentional, like when I've tried it, I've had to like totally cut out like all breads, all sugars, everything. So it felt really drastic and unnatural to me.
Yeah. And you shouldn't have to do that. Like I prefer, like, before my strength trainings, I will have a carbohydrate, something with sugar, so it will help my muscles because your muscles work off of glycogen,
Mm-hmm.
sugar. So it's the energy source that we need, that glucose, to pull the energy from. So you can push harder because at that point in time, the energy that your muscles are going to use to recover is the energy from the
Right.
fat. So
Oh, so
there's
they're just used at different times.
yeah,
Oh my goodness, I love that.
yeah.
Wow, that is super amazing. So, and I love how you teach your clients to understand what their body is telling them. So, what does it look like when they oh, wait, before I ask that, I want to ask one more question about exercise. Um, is there a time, because I've read different things on the best time to exercise, right? So is there truth to any of that? Because and let me back this up because I've been trying, like I get up early and I go to the gym and I do work out, and I'm finding I actually had to stop going because I kept getting injured. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I also am dealing with like I get leg cramps like intense at night. And so I found that if I exercise at night, I don't get the leg cramps, right? And so I'm just curious, is it just me? Is it better to exercise later in the day? Like, or is it just it's just up to you, it's an individual thing. Like what's the science on that?
I love this question because my answer is whenever you can get it in.
Okay.
I don't find it any kind of, I mean, it's good to get it in the morning because then it sets your day off on a high note. It can help
Hmm.
your metabolism a bit. But honestly, there's so many people who cannot get it done in the morning. It's not feasible.
It's
And for
hard,
your case,
right?
it creates what So honestly, what I tell my clients is whenever you can get it in consistently, because
Right.
consistently getting it done is going to give you much better results than trying to get it done at a time when it is very difficult for you.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I love that. Okay, so moving on. So when if a client comes to you and says, I need some help, what does that look like?
I'm all
Walk us
done.
through what it looks like being having you as a coach.
So they come to me asking for help. What is it like? What do I do for
Let's
them? Like,
say, well, okay, I guess they have to have a specific problem, right? So let's say they want to lose 20 pounds and feel better.
okay. So I would dig a lot deeper.
Okay.
I go through numerous questions as to, okay, well, what else is going on? How else are you feeling? A lot of times then they start digging into, well, I have a lack of energy. I have low self-confidence. I don't know how to eat properly. And it builds into all of these other things because wanting to lose weight is the surface reason.
Mm,
And just having that as the reason, I can't go anywhere because I don't know anything else. Since I don't do calories and macros, it makes it difficult for me to create a program. So I dig deep. I go in and we get on calls before they even jump into my program. I've got an application process that I have them go through, where we dive deep into different questions regarding their health, how they're feeling, where they feel at, like if they're even ready to change, because sometimes you're not and you feel like you are.
Right,
You want to lose the weight, but you're not willing to put in the effort.
right.
So once I dig down deep, then I know exactly how to start their program and what they're going to need help with.
Hmm.
So generally speaking, though, I start pretty much all of my clients off on a mindset shift on how they're eating and why they're eating. I don't even touch their food for the first month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's all a mindset on how and why they're eating and just understanding that
Yeah.
before we even get into the nutrition.
Okay. And how is that generally received? Is it
At first,
right? Like they're
at
like, wait a
first
minute,
they're
that's not what I
confused.
hired you for.
Yeah. And I explain that in our kickoff calls. But when I give them their first assignment, because I ask them a few questions about what I'm going to be giving them to make sure that it's going to be proper for them, obviously. But generally speaking, as moms, it will be. And I give them this little assignment and say, do it for a week. And when we meet next week, you tell me how it went. And generally speaking, they're like, oh my gosh, that was a huge difference. Like
Wow.
it's something that they never pay attention to. And so when they do, they're like, holy crap. Generally speaking, with that one thing, they'll have more energy, have less bloating, and like different things will happen. And it's amazing how they feel after just 1 week.
Wow, that's super amazing. What do you feel like are the major mental blocks that people have in regards to their health?
Major mental blocks.
Mhm.
That would just be infobesity. Too much information. We are surrounded by information. And so when people try to go to lose weight, get healthy, all of that, we have no idea where to start. There's all kinds of, don't eat this, eat like this, have this many meals a day or intermittent fast. Like
Right, it's
people
so
just don't know.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
loved your
biggest
term for it. What was it again?
infobesity.
Infobesity. That's so perfect. I love that so much.
We're obese with information, and it's true. It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
and
When we were
it's
kids, we didn't
conflicting.
have this. We had to go to the library and search through a million cards.
And you found one and said, "That's good."
Yeah, I'm done. I'm not
Right,
looking anymore. But
right.
now you can search 5 minutes. You've got a million answers.
Literally, yes. Wow, I love that. So how do you navigate all of that information? Like, what do you just tell your clients just to ignore all of it? Just
Yep.
focus on this?
Yep. Yep. I tell them just pretty much this is what we're going to do, and we're going to move forward from here. Like as you progress, I have steps in which we're going to take next. And if you need help with something else, then that's what we focus on. Because if you're having a block stopping you from progressing in what we're doing because something else is like, let's say cravings are kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, let's figure out why. Why are we
Right.
having cravings? Like, what can we do to help these cravings? And so we'll like kind of veer off a little bit, but that's the nice thing about having a personal coach. When you're on a diet, you have no help with that.
Right.
Like I'm having cravings, but I can only eat these things and now I'm screwed because I want to eat this and now I'm stressing out and stress does not help your weight loss at all or your health.
Oh,
So that's kind of how I guide my clients.
that I love that. So I'm curious. I really love your Facebook page and you have so much great content on there. You do a really good
Thanks.
job with that. And so I love how one of the things you say is how to eat guilt-free. And can you share with us a little bit about with that? Because I think society is so enamored with, you know, how to do things right and the guilt that comes with, oh, I'm not doing it right,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So how can you do things, be healthy, guilt-free?
Don't strive for perfection. That's basically it is. It's whenever somebody wants to get healthy and everything, they think they have to be absolutely perfect on everything in order for it to work. But if you've got self-compassion and you can just go ahead. You know what? I was eating really well. I haven't had treats or whatever. I'm going to allow myself to have this treat and I'm not going to worry about it. It's not going to cause me stress. I'm going to eat it slowly. I'm going to enjoy every bite, and doing that, it makes you more conscious and mindful of what you're doing. Therefore, there's no guilt behind it. You're enjoying it. You're understanding why you're eating it. And so there is no guilt. Very few times have I ever heard one of my clients say, I ate this over the weekend and now I feel super guilty. Generally speaking, I have clients say, I had a little slice of cake for my kid's birthday and I felt great and I didn't have any more and I was perfect. Like I loved it. It's like, and then like, I don't do it every day. So it was kind of nice of a treat.
Yeah. I love
And
that. It's almost a win, isn't it?
yeah, it is a win.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is super awesome.
And another thing about the feeling guilty is people who are on diets and they don't allow themselves to have the treat because they're on the diet. And then they feel guilty because everybody else is having it, but they're not.
right,
But that's another part of the mindfulness. It's like if you go into some like if you go in and you're like, I don't feel like having a treat even though they're there. And I'm not going to feel guilty about not indulging in whatever this person made as a treat. Then you're not feeling guilty for not having it and not like depriving yourself.
right. I love that. So it kind of relates to my next question. The holidays are coming up, and so many people overindulge. So how do you help your clients through the holidays? And what's like some practical advice that you can give everybody?
We strategize. We figure out when their parties are, when their events are, and then we have a discussion on, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to indulge in? What do you not want to indulge in? How do you want to handle the situation? And you go in with a plan. Generally speaking, I say make that a workout day. Get a workout in before you go. Make sure that you're eating healthy, going up to it. If you want to indulge, then maybe don't eat as much going into it because you know
Mhm.
you're going to have a little bit more during, and just be aware of what you're doing. It's
Right,
like still listen to your body, and sometimes, put smaller portions of all the things that you want to eat on your plate. So you're not like overloading it, but you get a taste of everything that you wanted. And that's really the whole thing is you want to enjoy these foods that you don't generally get to have. So if you have smaller portions and you're eating those, you got the food, but you feel good afterwards because you didn't overindulge. Or if you overindulge, don't go the whole next day without eating anything and over exercising. Just get back
right,
on track. One day is
right.
not going to ruin you.
You posted that on Facebook. What do you do if you oh, correct me my wording, if you've messed up basically, right? And so I really loved that question, and it helps me to put my own patterns into, a health environment, right? And so my answer to that was, well, every day's a new day. You can start over, which is exactly what you just described. Just start over. It's a new day. Just go back to what you've been doing. So
Yeah.
I
Too many
that
people will say, "Oh, well, I've screwed up today, so the rest of the week is just going to be, screwed up, so I'll just start again on Monday." But at that point in time, then you're really ramping up the calories and you're probably going to gain a little bit and throw yourself way off. But if you start new every single day, that's not going to happen.
every single day is new. I love that. That's such great, just super good advice. So what every I think you've kind of answered this, but I just want you to um, make sure that we've covered everything that needs to be done here. Every single body is different. So how do you customize the coaching to each person?
The coaching is pretty straightforward.
Hmm.
I can adjust as people tell me how they're feeling.
Hmm.
With the training side, I go off of how much exercise they've actually done, what equipment they have available to them, and what they feel they can do. And
Right.
I customize their workouts more.
Oh, that's
After my
interesting. Okay.
after my first initial my first program, my initial program is 4 months long, and we build a really strong foundation. And then as long as they're qualified to go into my next program, that's a longer one, and that one's more customized. Like we
Okay.
start really diving into, okay, now let's start working with your portion sizes on the protein and carbs and all that stuff. Like really start to work with that and really like dive into more of a customization. But for the first 4 months, it's learning the basics.
Right.
And the workouts are still customized because not everybody can do, all the same workouts, and not
Right.
everybody has the same goals for that.
All right. I love that. So what are the basics?
The basics,
Yes.
learning how to listen to your body
Okay.
and understanding what proper nutrition is,
Okay.
what actually should be going on your plate, what kind of variety should you be getting. Because so many times people will eat like the same couple of vegetables every single day, or same proteins every single day, whatever, same fats, same what, everything.
Hmm.
You can go into malnutrition if you do that because you're not getting a variety of nutrients. So
Right.
we work on, okay, here's a list of, I give them infographics for every single item and say, okay, here's the things that you should be eating more of, some of, and less of. Where do you fall into that? How can we create more of a variety?
Right. I love that. Do you help with meal planning?
Oh yeah, I meal plan and meal prep all the time. So I guide my clients on how to do that for their families as well.
That's awesome. I think that's the hardest thing for me is just deciding what to eat. It just seems like such a chore. And I get to five or six and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
The
I don't
yeah,
know.
we plan out an entire month in advance, and then each week we meal plan and prep for the week. So we plan for the month and we prep for the week.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Love that. Do you have like specific recipes that you give to your clients? Is that part of your service?
I can give them, yeah, I've got a list of recipes that I like to use. And
Hmm.
if I try something new and they're like looking for something, I'm like, oh, here, try this. If they ask for something, I've got lists of recipes that I'll use for that. Or if they ask me, what can I do with this ingredient? I can generally speaking give them a few ideas. But yeah, I've done the whole like meal plans for clients, and that gets really boring for them if I kind of just say, okay, we're going to do this and this and this and
Right.
this. And like, well, my family doesn't want to eat that. So I kind of guide them in the direction of where they should go, or I'll give them websites where there's really good recipes that I've used and stuff. And they love that because then they can search through and find things that they like.
Yes. I love that. That's so cool.
So the goal with coaching with me is you get to the point where you don't need a coach anymore. You
Well,
just
that's
know
the
what you
perfect
need to
kind of
do.
coach, right? I love that.
Hmm.
That's so cool. Okay, so one more question about bodies. How about hormones? How do you deal with hormones? Because like going back to my leg cramps, like I know that's hormonal, and
It could be nutritional. It could be
oh, now you're
lack
blowing
of
my mind,
recovery.
right?
Lack of recovery could be a big thing too. There's a lot of stuff that could go into muscle cramps. Hormones can make a difference,
Hmm.
absolutely. I don't help with hormones. That's out of my scope of practice. Generally
Okay.
speaking, if somebody feels like they have a hormone issue, I say go to your doctor, go have
Okay.
some labs run and see. I do tell my clients, since I work with pretty much women exclusively, I tell them not to do measurements when they're on their cycle because the hormones can throw your measurements way off. I had a
Yeah.
client gain 10 pounds every time she had her cycle.
Oh my goodness.
It was just all water weight and everything. It was nuts. So I don't generally do much with hormones because I have not really studied that much into that part.
Right. Right. That's that's really interesting. And I now you're making me want to do a little bit more research on my leg cramps.
Yeah, it could be
Because
very
it
well
is
like different
interesting.
things.
And it's interesting that, okay, if I exercise at night, I don't have them, so maybe there is something a little bit more physical to it.
Yeah.
So,
And it could be what you're eating or not eating before you go work out too,
oh my goodness,
or
there's,
your warm ups
no.
and cool downs.
Yeah, wow. So much to know. All right. So, what brings you joy as you are helping your clients?
Their wins.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the first thing we talk about. I send them an email the day before our sessions, and they're supposed to write down what were successes and what were struggles. And we celebrate the wins right off the bat. And it really makes them think, because a lot of times, especially as women, we tend to think negatively and like, oh, I didn't do this right. I didn't do this right. This didn't work out. But then if they think about it and like I'm asking them questions like, oh, no, I actually did do this. And I'm like, that's a win. That's better than last time, and then they start like, oh, yeah, and I did this and I did this. So I help them understand their celebrations, which makes me super excited too, because I'm like,
I love
see,
that.
and then they want to do more.
Do you have a client in particular that just their story just warms your heart that you could share with us?
Gosh, I love all my
You're like,
clients.
which one? Right?
I have a client right now who she started with me and she was about 230 pounds. And, she just didn't know where to start. She's a mom of four, and two of those kids are twins. And right now she's going through a horrible divorce, but she's down 30 pounds.
Wow.
And she, like, even though she's stressed, she is not missing a beat. She eats really well. We've decreased her migraines. She exercises like crazy. Like, she's an amazing human being. And it just makes me so excited every single time. She's like, I didn't do great, but I got all my workouts in. I got my water in. I ate well. And I'm like, those are big wins. Like, most people, when they're stressed like that, they give up on life.
Everything. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's so awesome. What a great story. That's just so cool. So, if you could put in words what you feel like your purpose is now, what would you say?
My purpose for this is to absolutely help moms understand that they can and should take care of themselves first before everyone else. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people?
Right.
Especially your kids. And you should be showing your kids how to take care of themselves properly. My daughter goes out to my gym with me as I work out, and she'll do little workouts, exercises, play with my resistance band, do handstands with me against the wall, different things. And she sees me struggle. She sees me get stronger, and it pushes her to do well in her classes. And she's only 4.
That's awesome. And you can see her walking a little bit behind you.
Yeah,
fun.
the
I
little
love
head
that.
bobbing back behind
me. Yeah. So what a fantastic example. I love that. And it's true so much, and I've done this with my own kids too. You help them and you just forget about yourself. And then now I feel like I'm backpedaling so much. Like, wait a minute, this is what I should have taught you. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to change my life in this way. This is how you should do it, not the way I taught you when you were little. Right.
Yeah.
So I love that. Love it.
I was
love
always taught, finish your plate. What else do you want? What else do you want to eat? What else do you want to eat? Not, are you full? Are you done? Okay, we can be done.
And what a simple shift in talking. I remember as a kid sitting at the table for hours because I had to eat everything on my plate, and it literally made me vomit.
Yep.
and trying to gulp it down, and there are things to this day that I cannot eat because it still incites that vomiting reaction.
Yep.
Because of those negative experiences. So,
Yep. I have the same thing. Same thing.
What food is yours? I'm curious.
Oh, it's a candy food, actually.
Really?
Circus peanuts,
Oh, yeah.
which they're not great anyway, so I don't
So
care.
that's good. See, and mine is butternut squash. I cannot eat it. Like,
Really?
I can't.
I love butternut squash.
I love, love, love butternut squash soup, but to eat it like in chunks on my plate, I think of it now and it makes me want to hurl. Unfortunately, we didn't have a dog or any kind of an animal that would eat things like that, so I couldn't, fake it. So
Yeah.
So anyway, good advice to ask your child, are you done? Right?
No, she's pretty vocal about that. Like, she'll just tell me like, I'm done, I'm full, and I'll look at her plate and I'm like, okay, you've had a decent amount. If she's had a couple bites, I'm like, nah, you should probably eat more.
Yeah. Well, that's
because you're
good.
gonna say you're hungry soon.
Exactly. So what other little bits of advice can you give people to help them be healthy?
get just herself. Yes, you can. Sorry.
You're good.
So what other advice I'm sorry, what was the question?
So what other advice can you give to people to help inspire them to be healthy?
Honestly, ignore the diets. Ignore what your friends tell you that works because one diet isn't going to work for everybody. And honestly, the best thing I could have ever done for myself or that I did do for myself is hire a coach.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I am a coach. I have coaches myself. I've hired a coach for my health. I have a coach for my mental health mindset currently, and I have a business coach. Coaches are amazing, and we always feel like we can do it on our own. But then we look back and think about how long we've been trying to do it on our own, and where are we? Are we continually losing and gaining the same 15 pounds over and over again? Like, how would it be to finally be done with the cycle? So my ultimate advice is to at least chat with a coach and see if that's something that you're interested in.
I love that. What was the biggest thing you got from your first health coach that you used?
Structure.
Yeah.
Like absolutely having structure because I'd bounce around to a different workout every day, every single day. And now I do the same workouts every single week with progression, and I see amazing differences.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, the
So
best
good.
way to work out is do it boringly. Don't change it up too often.
I love that. So you have a gift for our listeners and viewers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I turned 40 this month, last week. And so right now, for the rest of October, I can extend it into like the first week of November for people listening in on this since we were supposed to do this last week. But I am giving away an extra 40 days for free. So that's basically a little over a month extra of training, of coaching. So it's a really big value that I'm giving, just because, a milestone has been hit for me and I want to give to more people.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And I will make sure that I put a link in the show notes of where they can find that. But can you go ahead and tell us verbally where to find you and find more information about what you do?
So I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. I do have a Facebook community, a free Facebook community called Healthy Moms in the groups that you can join. And I do free trainings. I give out recipes. We do like questions and polls and challenges, different things in there. I kind of help inspire people to do well in there. But I do a lot of my, promoing on my main Facebook page. It's Sara Cobb. And then my Instagram is Fit with Sarah C. So you can find me either place.
Fantastic. And I'll make sure I have links to all of those. So check out Sara Cobb online. Go to her, was that Fit Mom? Is that what it was?
Healthy Moms.
Healthy Moms.
Group.
I got close. Go to her Healthy Moms. I've only seen what you have on your personal Facebook profile and it's amazing. So I am totally going to join Healthy Moms. Like this has just been so enlightening. And honestly, it gives me hope because this is like totally what I have wanted for years, and what you have shared with us is not the information that you get online. It just isn't. It isn't. And so I hope everybody here goes and checks out Sara Cobb and you get inspired to find the health that you want. So thank you so much, Sara, for joining us today. I really enjoyed our conversation and I hope you have too.
Yeah, I did. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And for everybody who is listening, thank you so much for joining us today. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. It helps me out just a ton. And until we meet again, remember that your purpose is in your story. Take care.
Celebrate your dreams, let them take flight, for you are a star, shining bright in every step you take.